Every one of you watching this screen, look out.
Anything can happen in the next half hour.
What did I tell you about cartoons?
They've got a lot of brains, and they've got a lot of chutzpah.
Tell me how comic books make you feel, Dave.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Hi, this is Franz Cantor, illustrator, cartoonist, and toon talker. With a hoarse voice, and
aren't you also a pod person?
A pod? What do you mean, a pod person? A pod person. Well, soon to be a pod person. So I'm here with
Jim Bridges, and I'm the president of the Australian Cartoon Museum.
What have we got here today?
We got Will Eisner.
Will Eisner, the Centennial celebration, 1917.
A real standout in comic
2017.
World. Yeah.
So it's
they named an award after him,
it's a
and
centenary.
he even won it. How good is that?
Yeah. The Eisner Awards, of course. So this book is put out by Kitchen Sink and Dark Horse Books. It's the Will Eisner Centennial Celebration. And we love this book.
It's a big book.
I can't stress to you enough how important Will Eisner is in the world of comics. Look at that beautiful end paper. Lovely. So these
a bit sexual for an end paper, don't you think?
Yeah, these are some of the quotes from some of the people. Harvey Kurtzman, of course, Scott McCloud.
There he is.
That's him. That's him there.
And that's him looking out the window, checking out ideas.
That's bricks.
Yeah, bricks.
All right.
Oh, and that's his drawing board where he
tests the pen.
He gets
this is fantastic. The reason why this is so good is because they've actually left the faded paper untouched, and you can see the whiteout where he's actually put in some correction fluid to sort of
and this is part of an exhibition, and apparently according to the publisher that is the size of the original. Yeah.
So it's quite small, actually. The brushstrokes are really, really fine.
They might have been done. They might have been done by Lou Fine because he worked with him.
Yeah. Well, Larry Fine.
Larry Fine. Now you're mixing your metaphors.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. So why is
there he is?
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
That's the Eisner Award, isn't it?
No, it's a bronze statue of Will Eisner's The Spirit, sculpted by Peter Poplaski, who was a mate of his.
Yeah.
And this is interesting because you see, the Spirit was an actual special thing that was inserted into newspapers, the comic section.
Yeah.
And it was a proper comic.
Yep.
Well, it didn't have a proper cover.
It was different to the normal.
Yes. But it was an insert. It wasn't actually
comic pages.
Yes.
So it had its own little stage.
Typical.
Yeah.
A typical page. He was famous for his splash pages. Like that's 1 a.m. And that's him asleep.
So just
and this bloke comes in, pouring rain, as in all of Eisner's stuff, and then leaves a note, and it's from Dennis Kitchen, who actually who produced the book. He's the publisher. This is his hideout because he had he lived in a cemetery. And he lived under the ground, and that's Dennis Kitchen there fighting with. Eisner was the spirit.
Look how fluid his brushstrokes are, his shading, they're incredible.
And look, there's a third person there, look, from the past, grabbing him. And obviously he was right-handed. Further proof he's right-handed. And there's a self-portrait, which is actually Kurtzman-like, isn't it? Or is it just the hair? It's crisp
Yeah,
and
I think it has that sort of manic energy. It's trying to sort of comical energy into
And this is early work he did.
some
So the bloke could draw.
copper plates.
He could also
oil
paint.
painting.
There he is as a young man when he had lots of hair, and that's the picture behind him.
Yeah.
Da-da,
Actually met
da-da.
I met Will in 1996 at a comic convention in Sydney
Okay.
at the Opera House.
Came all the way to Australia, did he?
Very, very. I actually, to my shame, I never really knew very much of the Spirit's work
Shame.
until I met him, and
I'm
then of
shocked.
course I fell in love with the Spirit.
I know you don't like Disney. That's ridiculous.
Well, they're not really mainstream. They weren't mainstream.
No, they weren't.
comics.
But I mean, they're legendary.
Yeah. Why is he important? He's important because
This is early
of
work,
his,
and as you said last time we tried to do this book.
the crammed narratives.
Lots of writing.
Yeah, the word balloons.
Yeah.
And also so many panels.
Well, this is
But
early
occasionally-
work, but they're this sort of hands and that
Yeah.
angle. That's classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the difference between comics,
So-
I mean, all comics started out in newspapers,
Yeah.
right? They weren't comic books.
Except in Japan.
No, but their manga is a copy of American GI's comic books.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying their comics are pre-comics, pre-American comics. Anyway,
They're pre-American
Yeah,
comics.
we'll have a big argument.
We'll have to have an argument about this.
Yeah, now this is the only picture he actually kept in his own house in a frame on a wall,
Right.
and it's a lot more work in it than he normally does. With the time and sort of stuff. Yeah, so it's early days. It's,
These have a name.
it's
this
40s,
hairstyle, 1940s hairstyle.
yeah. And there's an article about
Spirit
him.
of
And
41.
still
So this is during-
still early because the way it's
Even in
drawn.
the 1940s, you know, when they were fighting Nazis and Japanese, etc., and all the other comics like Captain America, etc.
Yeah.
He had this incredible style, this very fluid style,
Yeah.
and incredible humor, right?
Yes.
So and timing and perspective.
They're
and
all detective stories,
he
but they're very funny.
really shone
Always.
out from
Yeah.
all of the other superhero comics.
Even
or
when people are getting shot
adventure
and killed and
comics at the
murdered,
time.
there's humour in it,
yeah.
and no one else did that. And he
This is
he
some
was
of
in
his,
the army.
wartime
Yeah, he
posters he did?
Yeah, care for your
your-
sidearms.
Yeah.
know. Don't get it wet.
Yeah.
Joe Dope was a character who buggers up everything, and don't do what Joe Dope does. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, so he shoots a whole drum but doesn't cool off the gun. It's melted the barrel. You know.
Yeah.
And this is the beginning of those famous splash
Yeah,
pages.
the use of the
Spirit, which
picture
is-
itself
yeah.
as an introduction to
Yeah.
the story.
plus the credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is sort of like an EC horror Halloween adventure.
Yeah, but that's 46.
Oh, it predates it then.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
That's
you know,
very interesting.
I mean, he's a legend because
So he does this.
he pioneered so much stuff.
Yeah. So he does reference a lot of film composition, a lot of film
Film noir.
look, and a film noir because it's a
Yeah.
1940s detective novel. But it's very, very stagey. It's incredibly well drawn and presented, but it's presented in
Well,
a very unique way.
But it's done in
it's not like normal comics
a
at all.
theatrical
Yes.
way.
Yes.
So, you know, builds up the drama.
Yeah.
He's not interested in the dynamics of fighting and all that sort of stuff, although he does it. Here's a send up. See, here's the original, and there's how it was printed.
But it's a graphic narrative.
That's a send up of
Yeah. See what this is, right? Sequential art, which is a term that he coined.
yes.
Sequential art is really artwork that tells a story.
L
in a
cap is
sequence.
actually L slap.
So,
and there it is,
If you
Spirit.
if you think about all of the other forms of sequential art, like storyboards and then traditional comics themselves, a lot of times comics they're a crossover. So they do film looks. They
Yes.
do filmic storytelling,
And here he is sending up
and a lot of films do
comics
comic
itself.
storytelling.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There is that great relationship.
Yeah, but this is unique in the field because he's really pushing the envelope in every which way, every direction.
And every episode that
respects.
started, he would do something different. He did the drawing, the introduction, you know. Just,
Yeah.
So
that's
here it
why.
is. Here
yeah.
is this donk donk donk. You know.
Well, this is a classic sequence.
Yeah.
So this is how timing is different to film.
He must have been pushed that week because there's not much drawing in it.
Yeah. So timing in comics is
Yeah.
very, very different to film.
Yeah.
Now, to his credit, he experimented with this. You know, timing, composition, graphic storytelling, different ways the angles and the frames themselves can help tell the story.
Yeah.
Enhance the story, enhance the feeling.
So it starts off with an actual comic book
Yeah.
this time, so that they must have been pressed for time as well. And this is quite interesting. This is interesting because what he does, this is the bad guy, and he actually moves into his head.
So the memory is in his head.
So what he's thinking
It's like a
about,
projector.
what is going on, and then you see through his eyes.
Through his eyes, yeah.
So this is what the panel is.
It's a completely different aspect.
Yeah.
So this is why Will Eisner is so important.
Yeah.
He pushes the envelope. He experiments.
Yes.
So the graphic narrative medium is
Yes.
so flexible in comics.
So here he is
flexible.
looking at someone, and the gun's actually, he's seeing this person, but the gun's coming at you, the audience, bang, crash, you know. And then
Yeah.
it finishes on the story
that.
again, the comic.
Going back, so it's breaking the
Yeah.
fourth wall, coming back.
Does it all, the spirit.
Yeah.
Does it
Is
all the time.
really, really powerful. I mean, we take for granted, we kind of look for things in comics, with stories, but really what he does, you can't second guess it. He'll come up with novel ways of making you think while you read the story.
I mean, that's a great
That's
part.
why it's
That's-
important. In as as much as I suppose Scott McCloud would be important in his comics, in his explorations, and certainly the graphic medium, the graphic narrative or the graphic novel medium in terms of a visual narrative.
There's humour.
is-
There's humour in the drama, like in the violence. Look,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
And actually, there's humour in all his virtually humour in all his work he does.
well, what I love about it is the
And it's also
penchant for
drama.
experimentation.
Yes, but
so he's
it's
not
also-
afraid to handle heavy scenes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He understands implicitly film noir. He understands the drama of the camera, of the angles, of the stories that he's trying to tell.
So here is the spirit. So he's actually going
But
to
he'll
visit.
play with
Eisner.
your head. He'll play with your mind, because all is not what it seems in his comics. Why has she got white out there? Oh well, some correction fluid.
The big S.
See, these stand out. If you were to
Yeah.
Pinterest him or go onto Instagram or something, these things, splash pages and covers, really stand out. They're so inventive. It's really, really important.
And here's the whole
comic
story without word balloons.
So this is another experimentation.
Yep.
No word balloons. This is the power of sequential art. It doesn't require it doesn't require always, stories. They don't require dialogue.
Yes. This is the finished product, and that's a sketch.
And see, like sometimes a comic page doesn't finish off.
Yeah.
It doesn't pan out, right?
Yeah.
So it stops for an effect.
Yeah.
This is the experimentation stage. This is an artist in full capacity, understanding the benefits and the medium of comics in themselves, and able to push those envelopes and make rules and break rules. That's the mark of a true genius. I mean, look at this. The word balloon slapped right over the main character's face.
It's a colouring book. Oh, I wouldn't mind getting hold of that, full of splash.
Splash pages.
Yeah, that'd be great. Eh? And this is, I don't know if he coloured that. Did he colour? He didn't do colour work, did he?
You did a little bit.
Just not. Yeah. Okay. And he did other things too.
That would probably be an indication
Yeah.
of how he wants the colours to happen.
Oh, he obviously couldn't draw hands.
Yeah.
Now we're getting on to his...
very heavy
we're getting on to his...
stories. These are more illustrated stories rather than...
Yeah, that's
comics.
true, because they're all taken from...
Yeah, from novels.
But then he... this is the sketch, and... But then he got into the graphic novels. He actually produced about 20 of them before he died. And the famous one is the first one.
Contract with God, yeah.
Yeah.
It's this man examining, his misery.
Yeah, there's the story called The Super, and that's The Super.
Yeah. So
And he turns up in a lot, like he basically just put all his ideas and experiences about living in New York in all his work. There's that picture, 78. He's obviously, because I don't think he was still drawing he was doing some redrawing. Yeah, here he is redrawing here, see? Look at that, all the line in it, all the pages.
Yeah, look at the drama though, the composition, the lines and the shadows.
He really knew how to use black, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This is a picture that's got about 6 different inkers in it.
All right.
Yeah. And Basil Wolverton mask down here.
Huh. Wow.
Obviously a cover. So this is a story where she's checking things out. That's about, I don't know. Look at this.
So comics are not subject to
Great balance, isn't it?
normal shaped frames, the way that storyboards are usually involved in. So this is really a way of experimenting with the narrative itself, with the medium itself. So when you keep adding these little insert frames here, it extends time because it takes time to read them. So when a comic artist like Eisner wants to extend time, he'll do it in a totally different way than you would in film.
In this story, there's a guy just sitting there and a cockroach falls, and he's looking at it, and it becomes an existential, story about, if man created God, then the reason for life is only in the mind of man. If, on the other hand, God created man, then the reason for living is still only a guess. After all is said and done, who really knows the will of God? So, in either case, both man and cockroach
are in serious trouble.
Yeah, because staying alive seems to be the only thing on which everybody agrees. So, I mean, he's getting into heavy stuff for a comic.
Yeah.
Although he did To Be or Not to Be, the speech in one of his books, and he breaks up the whole speech about a bloke on top of a tenement building talking about it,
Yeah.
See, he goes out the door and then it's the child, it's outside.
Yeah, the books on sequential art are actually really powerful.
Yeah. Well, they're the first grammar books, aren't they?
Comic
They're the
book
first
grammar.
Yeah.
But they're also pointing at not just general usage for comics, but, possibilities of extending the medium, of taking the medium to new directions.
And that's
this is the Eisner.
The Reuben. No, that's the Reuben Award.
What's is it? Oh, the Reuben.
Reuben Award. And
named after the sandwich.
Yeah, and no, it's not named after a sandwich. This is a book he did on Vietnam, which he did on that what do they call that board?
Canvas board.
Yeah, and he makes the whole comic like that. And then he did Fagin. He did he did stuff on. This is not the true story of Fagin, but it's. And then he got into this thing about the protocols of Zion. Yeah. And he researched it and got into the back. It's a famous book that sort of. It's a, book that
anti-Semitism.
Yeah, but also, why the Jews are running the world and all that sort of stuff. And here he is as a young man, it's sort of autobiographical in a way, checking out all this sort of stuff. And he wanted to sort of put it out there as a lot of bullshit, that it was the protocol of Zion's a lot of bullshit. And here are ideas where he does the spirit.
Yeah.
In different ways.
Well, for sculptures.
Well, yeah, whatever. And and here he is. There's those pages we saw before, and there he's oh look, there's a push me pull you. Yeah.
Double-sided pencil
And of course
extender.
he's using the old tape.
Yeah, he uses blue pencil.
Yep. And these are some of the things
These
that
are
were
some of the
done.
most famous covers.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah, I've always liked that one.
I've not seen that one.
And these are the covers to his there's that famous
Comics and
art.
sequential art.
Yeah.
So if you can get a hold of these, by all means you should.
Yeah.
Because they're quite important.
The plot, the secret story of the protocols of the Elders of Zion. Yeah. Champion of the graphic novel. That's good. That's good. Who did that? Doesn't tell you. Okay, and this is a typical. Here he is, like. This is a story about the last tram on this thing, isolated tram. And so here's the spirit. It's so much storytelling, and he's caught, and the girl that's got a bag full of money that's falling all over the place. This Uncle Sam character's taken her away, and just behind him, the goon's going to get he's reaching for his gun. So the whole story's there.
Well, it's a hierarchy. It's an illustration showing a hierarchy of a narrative.
And that's typical, having a light with all this water coming down. Yeah. Well, the guy's great.
Very, very powerful work. You know, I think this is a great book. Simply because of the page sizes, which is like unbelievably strong.
Yeah.
Seeing them this big.
Well, a lot
This
of
is quite
a lot
true.
of books are coming out
They're
in this size format, if not bigger.
So these are,
Yeah,
actually to size.
yeah.
Amazing work.
The kids who grew up with reading comics now have money.
Yeah.
They can buy books.
So last word on Will Eisner's book. What do you think?
200%.
200%.
200%.
Okay,
yeah.
so you broke math. All right.
Yeah.
This
Great
is
cover,
great.
great cover.
He was a great guy. He was
Yeah.
a great man and a great artist. And
Always pushing comics
Really-
all his whole life. And
Yeah.
he's pretty smart too, because he organised deals for himself. And the whole idea of doing a comic insert into the newspaper, he was the only one who ever did it, I think.
yeah,
And he actually, most of the cartoonists were ripped off, not him. He did his own deal. He was a good businessman as well.
something to remember.
And of course, he ran he was the first person to organise, in the early days of comics in America, to organise packaging comics. They didn't put out their own comics; they packaged them for other people, for other publishers. Way ahead of his time.
Yep,
Way ahead
indeed.
of his time.
This is Franz Cantor and
Jim Bridges,
saying, we'll catch you next film.
Shalom.
Okay.
Thanks for the sour persimmons, cousin.